I'm the best thing that ever happened to Puerto Rico because we did a great job in Puerto Rico. They don't like to give me the credit for it, but we did a great job. I have many Puerto Rican friends. I have a real understanding of Puerto Rico. I've had jobs in Puerto Rico. I think the most successful, I owned the Miss Universe contest, the pageants, and we had them in Puerto Rico twice, and I'll tell you, we had tremendous successes. In fact, they said literally 100%, this never happens, almost, I think it was close to 100, but 100% of the island itself was watching. They liked those pageants. Now, I've had a great relationship with Puerto Rico. I'm the best thing that ever happened to Puerto Rico.
God, remember how horrible Trump was? Sorry to re-traumatize you with Agent Orange there, but I promise this video is worth it. Because while Trump was boasting about how he's the best thing to happen to Puerto Rico there back in 2019, he's not the only Republican who thinks less than highly of the U.S. territory. The fight over Puerto Rico's status has been a long-standing one, ever since the Spanish-American War was fought in 1898. As the longest held territory, which really just means colony of the US, many politicians have used the island as a political tool, Democrats and Republicans. But Republicans especially just can't quit Puerto Rico, and Lindsey Graham gives us an insight as to why. At a recent Georgia rally, Senator Graham riled up the crowd by asking, does anybody need DC and Puerto Rico to be a state? As the crowd predictably yelled back no, Graham said, that dilutes our power. And in this clip, you can see Graham say even more.
Herschel Walker will be one less vote for an agenda that makes you throw up. He's not going to make D.C. and Puerto Rico state.
Apparently, a key component to getting Walker to win in Georgia was to make claims that D.C. and Puerto Rico's statehood was not something that he would back. And even Ted Cruz has been backing this theory for years.
And D.C. statehood, their push here is part of a broader effort. We have Democratic control of the White Houses and both houses of Congress, and their number one priority, it's not COVID, it's not vaccinations, it's not reopening jobs, it's not getting kids back in school, it's not doing anything substantive. Their number one priority is they want to stay in power forever. So you look at what they're pushing. They're pushing D.C. statehood. Why? Because they want 2 new Democratic senators.
Not only do Republicans like Graham and Cruz not understand Puerto Rican politics, but they are clearly terrified that an island with a population of over 3 million people, most of whom are Black and brown, has the potential of skewing favor over to the Democrats if they become a state. But here's where I need to remind you, it's not that simple. Colonization and U.S. imperialism has created a complicated political situation on the island for the past 125 years. Democrats and Republicans have been using island residents as a way to gain political favor, largely due to the growing population of the diaspora in the United States. With a growing understanding of the island's lack of political standing as a territory, the easy answer for many Americans has become statehood, almost making the assumption that that would easily solve the unequal representation in economics on the island. And a growing number of statehood advocates has been gaining traction on the island itself, even placing statehood as a ballot option in local elections multiple times, while manipulating the results as proof that Puerto Ricanos want to become a state. Lacking to acknowledge that has been the only option on the ballot, and that turnout has only been around 50%, which is way too low to be considered viable. But the truth is most Puerto Ricanos are generally against statehood, even if they don't vote in local elections. And the Independence Party on the island has been gaining more and more supporters every single year. AOC and other Democratic leaders have been pushing a bill that would place status up for a vote, with not just statehood as an option, but giving additional options that present as decolonization avenues. But the bill has not been put into place yet, so the issue of status continues to linger. As a Boricua myself, I have strong opinions against statehood, mainly because the only reason Puerto Rico is a territory is because the U.S. colonized it. To make an attempt for us to become a state would be detrimental to the people, the language, and the cultura that has been rebelling against the United States ever since colonization, and an entire population of people being used as a political pawn by either party does not sit well with me either, particularly because if Democrats really wanted to support its people, they would abolish the many U.S. imposed laws that are currently oppressing the population and making life harder for its natives. So, as much as me duele decir esto, on this particular issue, I have to agree with Republicans on not making Puerto Rico a state, but obviously not for the same reasons. In my personal opinion, that choice should be made by Puerto Rico without any political influence by the states. But given its history, we'll see if the US can keep its hands to itself. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm Constanza Eliana for Rebel HQ.